Let's jump into what else we got today, and I want to start with the breakout players in the SEC like we alluded to just a little bit ago. This is kind of that time of year where you start looking at the roster and seeing, okay, what 4-star, what 5-star is where, who's wearing the depth chart, all that. And I think we got to start in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with a freshman who, no joke, could very realistically be the best player on the roster, and that's safety. 5-star freshman safety, Caleb Downs. And Caleb Downs, to be real, he's just a ball player. Like, Caleb Downs came out of the womb and knew he could play some football. He's a playmaker on the field, and his skill set can be summed up in two things. Charles Power loves this about him. Cerebral football player. He's very good at reading what's going on with the offense. And the second thing, he's instinctual. Like, you can't teach instincts, man. You can try your best. You can do what you can to try and, get them in the right spot. But, when you're between the white lines, it's all you. And so Caleb Downs has always been an instinctual football player. You don't need to teach a shark how to swim. You don't need to teach a horse how to run. You don't need to teach Batman how to fight Joker. Caleb Downs, you never need to teach him instinctually how to play the position. And he's a guy that had that everybody talking factor during the spring. A lot of people watched what was going on at Alabama during spring practice, and they're like, hey, who's that number 2 out there running around in the secondary? For those that hadn't kept up with recruiting, that's Caleb Downs, and he's very, very likely going to be a guy that contributes for you in a very big way as a freshman in Tuscaloosa. Like I already mentioned, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Let's keep this thing rolling here. Everybody that's tuned in live, you could give us a little thumbs up on that icon under the live show. That would be phenomenal. So appreciate you in advance for that. Let's keep on rolling here. Now, we're going to talk about the Vols in just a second, what they're doing on the recruiting trail. But let's go ahead and take a look at what they're doing when it comes to some breakout players this coming season. And a guy that's going to break out is a transfer wide receiver from the University of Oregon, Dante Thornton. And Dante Thornton is a guy who is just a one-on-one nightmare. Let's back up a little bit. What wins one-on-one in college football, especially at the wide receiver position? Size and speed. Dante Thornton is 6'5". That's real tall. Playing the wide receiver position. He's been reported to run a 4.4 40-yard dash. That's real fast. The Tennessee offense creates more mismatches than Tinder. And so Dante Thornton's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage. You're going to split him out wide and let that dude eat. That 4.4 speed, that 6'5" size, he's going to be a matchup problem Saturday in and Saturday out. And this offense under Josh Heupel, expect him to do numbers like Goodwill Hunting with that production left by Jalen Hyatt and the size left by Cedric Tillman and all the things they want to do with that big body that he has. I'm telling you now, big things coming from Dante Thornton. Expect him to eat greedy in Knoxville this coming season. Now, this next player I want to talk about, not getting nearly enough buzz. This is probably the one that we would sign our name next to and say, yeah, this is the one player that we think we are probably ahead of the curve on when it comes to this breakout conversation, and that is running back at Kentucky, transfer from NC State, Demi Sumo Kongbe. And I did a hit with another outlet earlier this week, and I just absolutely butchered his name. I mean, it was horrible. So I'm going to call him DSK for the rest of this segment, but he is going to be a guy for Kentucky, and here's why. When you watch him at NC State, sort of limited sample size. You don't have a ton to go off of from his game tape, but in the games where he got a lot of carries, look at the Eastern Carolina game for NC State early in the year, look at the game against Texas Tech for NC State, and the way that he ran the football, he is a guy that is getting his foot in the ground and getting downhill. He's not calling, he's not texting, he's just going. And that's how he gets down when he runs the football. He runs big, probably bigger than he is, runs behind his pads really effectively. In this offense now for Kentucky, it's going to be very pro-style under Liam Cohen. They're going to depend on him to pound the rock. They're going to depend on him to be able to get north and south quickly. We're talking 3 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry. For Demi Sumo Kongbe, DSK, he's averaging on his career 5.5 yards a carry. Again, limited sample size, not a ton of carries, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think he's going to have a big season for Kentucky. A nice little compliment to what they have on the outside. We talked about it already. They got some weapons now. Barian Brown, Dane Key, Tavian Robinson, Devin Leary can sling the pill around. Going to be a dude for you at Kentucky this coming season. Upped up on the offensive line. They re-upped through the portal, rather. Like, keep an eye on Kentucky. DSK set for a big-time season down there in Lexington. Last player I want to talk about here. Let's talk about an edge for Georgia True sophomore, Mykel Williams. Mykel Williams is 6'5", 265 pounds. He looks like Optimus Prime on the defensive line for Georgia. He was the number 2 overall player for us here at On3 in that 2022 cycle. Had a very real case to be the number 1 player. He's a dude that got on the field for Georgia as a true freshman. Y'all, to be on the defensive line as a true freshman, your first year on campus, and play for Georgia, that speaks volumes to this kid's ability, to his maturity, to his acumen to digest that scheme. And he's such a freak show. He's everything that you would want if you were to build an ideal edge defender. He's twitched up. He's great size, 6'5", 265 pounds, like I already mentioned. The thing with him, the reason why he's going to break out this coming season, apart from his ability and all that he has physically, it is going to be virtually impossible to consistently double team him. Like if he shows up and he starts wrecking shop, if you want to commit extra blockers to him, like you can do that if you want, but then guess what? Nazir Stackhouse, he gets to eat. The rest of that defensive line, they get to eat greedy. So do so if you want to, but it just creates more problems for you. So if you give him one-on-one throughout the course of a season, throughout the course of a game even, it's going to create problems for you. Had 2 sacks in the college football playoff. Mykel Williams about to break out in a very, very big way. Forget just the Southeastern Conference. I'm talking about a national stage. Mykel Williams going to be a dude that you need to make sure you are watching this coming season. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.